Hi, my amazing 6th grade scholars of Miami Middle School. This is Mr. Throop-Voors here with your homework help for tonight. Here is your homework page. Today, it was all about exponents. So I want to look at the first problem with you. This is one that we actually did in class. So the problem is 4 to the first power over or divided by 5 to the third power. So I'm just going to simply rewrite this as 4 to the first power over 5 to the third power. Now I know that 4 to the first power is simply just 4. So we're not multiplying that by anything. And we're putting that over 5 to the third power. And this looks like 5 times 5 times 5. And of course, I know that 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 5 is going to give me a total of 125. So this comes out to be 4 over 125. Now don't get confused and think that this is 5 times 3. That's not how exponents work. This is, you take the base and multiply it the number of times that your exponent tells you to. So 5 to the third power, or 5 cubed, is 5 times 5 times 5. So your final answer here for question number 1A is 4 over 125. Now question 1B is a little bit different, so I'm just going to rewrite this as 2 to the 4th power over 2 to the 6th power. And as I rewrite this in expanded form, this is going to look like 2 to the 4th is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And I'm going to put that over or divide that by 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 to the 6th power. Now I know that 2 times 2 is, of course, 4. And then 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. And then 8 times 2 gives me a total of 16. So the numerator of my fraction here is 16 over... Now, I already know that my first 4 2's are going to give me a total of 16. So I can just pick up here on my denominator. So 16 times 2, of course, is 32. I'm simply just doubling this every time. 32 times 2 is 64. So I know that my denominator is 64. Now, unfortunately, with this problem, it's not as easy as this being your final answer. I know that because 16 and 64 not only are even numbers, but they also share a common factor. I know they share a common factor of 8. And so I know that I can reduce this fraction. So if I ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 16? So I know that 8 times 2 is 16. So if I divide this by 8, and I know I can divide the denominator by 8, I know that this is going to give me 16 divided by 8 is going to give me 2. And then 64 divided by 8, I know that 8 goes into 64. I believe it is 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. So now I'm left with 2 8s, and I know that I can reduce that even more because both are even numbers and divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2, of course, is going to give me 1, and 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. So I know that I can't reduce this particular fraction. So my final answer for question 1B is 1/4. And now 3A, just to make sure you don't get tripped up here, doesn't matter what your exponent is because you know that the base number is 0. 0 to the 100th power, so 0 times 100 zeros is still going to give you an answer of 0. And so this is 0 times 1 to the 14th power. Well, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, 14 times is still going to give you 1. But when you look at this problem, 0 times 1, you know that 0 times anything, of course, is 0. And so don't get tripped up when you see the zeros with the large exponents. This is your homework help for tonight. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for homework help. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow.